Hello, I'm Geri and I'm supporting Luton's new alcohol helpline, and I'm here to tell you the reason why. My darling partner James died on Sunday the 6th of March 2022. 2 days beforehand, we'd been to see a show in London for his 47th birthday. 1 day beforehand, he'd been at work. He died suddenly and unexpectedly on a sunny Sunday morning from acute pancreatitis caused by chronic alcohol abuse. There's kind of three things that people knew about James. He really loved to chat. He wore ridiculously bright coloured trainers. He was well known for that, and he really enjoyed a drink. And everyone knew James enjoyed a drink. Everyone enjoyed having a drink with James. He was one of those people who could just walk into a room and just start chatting to anyone. He was one of those people who was like the life and soul. And, you know, he just was amazing and full of life, and we had our whole future planned together. He wasn't a drunk. He didn't stumble around. He never slurred his words when he had a drink. He never had hangovers, and he always performed really well at work, and he absolutely loved his job. Well, James and I met through work, actually. We were both event organisers, and we worked together, and I think we're sort of one of those rare couples that we found we could live and work together really well. We kind of hated being apart, but when COVID struck, the events industry just died overnight. So James and I were sort of working out what to do, and we actually both started working at a COVID test centre. And more towards the end of COVID, James, he was working in the mall. There was a test centre there, and he absolutely loved working in the mall because he was always busy. There were so many people for him to chat to, so he was in his element. And one of the things that he really enjoyed doing was sort of helping the more vulnerable people who were coming for tests. He had his regulars who would come for their tests every week, and I think it's just so they could have a chat with him mostly as well. So yeah, he was really sort of happy working there. But you know, he'd get home from work of an evening, have a few drinks just to unwind. He'd also, you know, at the weekend watching the footy, he absolutely loved the F1. Have a few drinks to, you know, relax, or we'd sit in the garden if it was a nice evening, have a few drinks to relax. So, you know, he sort of loved his life, and he just enjoyed, you know, a drink as well. It was kind of love at first sight with us. You know, we didn't meet till we were in our late 30s. But as I said, we sort of loved living and working together. We hated being apart. Even if it was just for a few hours, we'd be sort of messaging each other. We'd speak to each other several times a day. And we just used to wake up laughing and go to bed laughing. It was just you know, we just had just an amazing relationship. Yeah, it's sort of full of love and laughter. Yeah, no, we sort of planned to move up to Cumbria. We always said when we're proper grown-ups, we'll move up to Cumbria together, and we'll settle down properly. Unfortunately, our perfect life together ended when James was 47 years and 2 days due to his chronic alcohol abuse. He was just so full of energy. He was one of these people that couldn't sit down for long. I think that's why he loved working at the mall so much, because he was just on his feet all day and there were things to do. So no, I guess because on the outside, he was fit and healthy, in good health. But what we didn't know was the devastating impact his alcohol consumption was having on his pancreas. I think the pancreas is something you kind of don't really hear much about when it comes to alcohol. Everyone always thinks of the liver, don't they? So we just didn't know that there was this sort of silent time bomb inside him that was going to go off. He knew that he drank too much, but I think because it wasn't having any effect on his health, he didn't think he sort of justified sort of go into a treatment centre, like or to get treatment for it. He thought, you know, those treatment services are for people who are in sort of poor health, or they're not like managing their life well. And yeah, he was in control and in good health, so he didn't think it was an issue, even though he knew full well he was drinking too much. And even one day when he was working in the mall, he saw the resolutions. They had like a stall there, and he said, you know, I don't want to go and talk to them because I don't want to waste their time.
So do you think then that if the helpline had been available when he was alive, he would have used it?
Oh God, 100%, yeah. Like I said, he didn't feel like he wanted to waste people's time, but I know he probably would have called someone like for a chat just to discuss his alcohol consumption and maybe see like what the next steps are he should take, or, you know, maybe have like someone highlight it to him that the things that he was doing to his body that he didn't really know about. I think he would have definitely given it a call, even just to have a chat with someone, because James loved to chat. So yeah, I think as well for James, this helpline would have provided like a route to help that he didn't think he needed, but he so desperately did, because it's still here today.